This is your AI girlfriend. This is your AI girlfriend without makeup. It's Sunday. I'm Akorn. Welcome back to Laugh While the World Burns, bringing you your weekly dose of Idiocracy memes and news. Really quick, the next AkornTV livestream Hangout and Smoke session is tonight, May 24th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone's welcome to drop in and hang out with us around the virtual campfire. Also, the latest episode of Gen X and Millennial memes just dropped today on my other channel, AkornTV Live. This and all other links can be found down below in the video description and in the first pinned comment. With that said, let's jump into today's show. So you're saying that tobacco products on race cars will make me want to smoke, but gay and drag queen storybooks won't influence my life choices? Giant kites could pull cargo ships across the ocean and slash their carbon emissions. 3,000 years ago. Polymorous refugee Cleons. New Star Trek writer makes three-parent household a priority. There are a lot of folks alive in the world right now, and there always have been, who have three parents. The stupidity gets worse by the hour. If our politicians openly betray our interest in front of the whole world, imagine what they're doing behind our backs. They don't even try to do it behind our backs much anymore. They openly say a lot of the things that they're doing and what they're gonna do. Average female at the No Kings protest.
Why are you so extreme in your beliefs?
I'm just a normal person from 1995. AIs can't stop recommending nuclear strikes in war game simulations. Leading AIs from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google opted to use nuclear weapons in simulated war games in 95% of cases. Most any of us could have told you that. They probably received government funding for this study. I was banned on social media for posting everything that is now true. Fact check true, multiple times. I'm so old, I remember when it was illegal to break the law.
Minority groups should be proud of their race.
White people are 8% of the global population. If you're wondering what roughly $14 billion out of a projected $128 billion total looks like after 20 years of planning and construction on California high-speed rail, here's Fresno. Government at work. They them misunderstood the assignment. Camilla in 2023. To live in a coastal community is to live on the front lines of the climate crisis. Camilla in 2026. Harris buys $8 million Malibu mansion. A look at the luxurious seaside property. Yeah, all of these high-ups do this. They've all got either their own islands or mansions on the coast or whatever. We must all do our bit for the planet. I just unplugged a row of electric cars that no one was using. Hey, that's a good job, saving a lot of electricity. Now we just need to go around and start unplugging all these AI data centers. It would be easier to live within our means if we weren't taxed to death. Very, very true. But you still would have the biggest tax, which is inflation. Praise rolls in for high schools suspending hundreds of students over anti-ICE walkout. Adults are taking charge. That'll just give them time off to go protest somewhere else. Remember, Klinger dressed like a woman to show that he was mentally ill. That's true, but the government wouldn't accept it. Children starting school are trying to swipe books like their phones. An alarming proportion of kids just starting school are baffled by how books work. In a new survey of primary or elementary school staff conducted by the UK charity Kindred Squared, the teachers estimated that nearly a third of the students in reception class, the equivalent of preschool in the US, did not know how to correctly use books. At times, some children even tried to swipe or tap the pages like a smartphone. Why wouldn't they? That's the only thing that they've ever known. I'd say that there's a lot of households today that probably don't even have a book at home. Liberals hate all kinds of kings. Working, thinking, fact-checking, making sense. And stunning move, Trump drops Lindsey Graham on Tehran. Boss calls 200 employees for work meeting, ends up saying God appointed him CEO. He was the previous CEO's son. Well, it was probably fatherly intervention, but not that father.
Don't worry, America. The Democrats will save you.
The Rhode Island trans shooter tweeted yesterday warning that you shouldn't point out that trans women are really men or they will go berserk. Friend, want to come burn one and talk about government conspiracies? Me. Waymo is paying DoorDash gig workers to close its robo-taxi doors. When a rider leaves a vehicle door ajar, it prevents the car from departing until a human closes it. Waymo, which is owned by Alphabet, plans to expand into several new U.S. cities this year. Well, I didn't know that they were owned by Alphabet, but it's not surprising. If you don't know, Alphabet also owns Google and YouTube, and a long list of other companies. Hundreds of millionaires and billionaires sign open letter demanding higher taxes on the super rich. Nearly 400 millionaires and billionaires have signed an open letter demanding higher taxes on the super rich as the World Economic Forum in Switzerland gets underway. Sure they do, because they know it won't affect them one iota. What it's like trying to drive past an ICE protest. This is a pretty good one. But yeah, don't do this, guys. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Don't do this or anything else you've seen in the video. America is almost $39 trillion in debt because our politicians were stealing money. Maybe we should confiscate everything they own to pay off what they stole. Yeah, them and a lot of other people. I want my vehicle to be 0% computer. Well, my pickup truck is, if I can just keep the thing running. Chinese female streamer loses 140,000 followers after beauty filter glitch reveals her face. And I thought women here in the US were bad enough for doing things like this. My tinfoil hat is getting bigger and more stylish. New video shows passenger going through airport security with meat cleaver and boarding Delta plane. Yeah, the TSA will stop you for bottled water, but apparently a butcher knife isn't an issue. Skier mauled by snow leopard after getting too close for a picture. The tourist had gotten to within 10 feet of the animal. Well, they got them covered up pretty good so you can't see a lot, but it does appear that they're leaking a pretty good amount out onto their shirt there. People know how mean their own cat can be, okay? Just a house cat. They can claw you and they can cut you pretty good sometimes. Why in the world would they want to go out and pet on a wild cat that's also many times larger? You want to say stuff like this is isolated, but we have too many of these same type people out in Yellowstone.
I'm looking for a caregiver, someone who's willing to let me move in with them for free and take care of me. I usually help cope with all my anxiety, stress, the need for comfort, and past trauma. Again, I'm looking for a caregiver who's willing to let me move with them. But again, I don't want to have to pay taxes or get a job, so that is my goal.
Italian artist sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. Only in today's society. We'll talk about hairstyles later. Let's talk about the guy on the bicycle. Talk about a perfectly timed photo. Looks like he's halfway into the Superman pose. Being a Democrat changes a man. Just because they were male doesn't mean they were men. Fact check true. The U.S. debt now equals $229,000 per household, and a hefty tax hike looms as the most probable outcome. One way or another, they already take 60 or 70% of what people make. I guess they're going to take the rest of it soon. The irony of Tim Walz encouraging people to protest ICE while standing behind his fortified walled mansion is a perfect picture of the left. No matter how paranoid you are, what the state does is far worse than you can imagine. Richest woman in the world, Mackenzie Bezos. Net worth, $40 billion. Source of income, divorce. This was sent in by Brandon, just some guys he saw at a gas station. I believe this was just before this snowstorm hit. The guy on the left looks like he's bought every gas can left in town, and the guy on the furthest right is apparently filling a gas can inside his van. Like Brandon said, that's a good way to win a Darwin Award. And even if it wasn't from static electricity, just how about the fumes building up inside that van? ICE spotted in Fort Lauderdale sparks immediate protests. They probably would, to be honest. This guy literally dressed like his dead mom to get her $61,000 pension per year. Not even trying to be funny, but which one is the mom? The one on the left is the mom, but either way, this is pretty bad. Pistol packing pharmacist makes living selling substances and lead dispensers all in one. John Likens is a drug-dealing gun seller and damn proud of it. The enterprising Arkansas businessman owns and runs Lowell Pharmacy, a friendly neighborhood hangout where folks can sit on the soda fountain stools, get a prescription refilled, and purchase a Glock 22. Sounds like a one-stop shop. Yeah, won't be long now. They're working their way down the list of distractions and delusions. Middle school basketball fight results in adult getting tased as announcer nonchalantly calls the action.
James, this, go get Justin.
And here we go.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get the ball game.
Hey.
Look here. This ball game's got to get over.
Yeah, let's go. This game's over. Ain't no sense doing this. We'll get somebody hurt bad. This game's over.
Yeah, you can't get this.
This game's over.
And they just tased dry. This ball game is over.
U.S. man eats another student's AI artwork in protest, detained by police. An undergraduate at the University of Alaska was detained after tearing and eating AI-generated artwork in protest and charged with criminal mischief. Well, at least it wasn't invisible. They say cows are bad for the environment, but all they do is eat plants and fart. Kinda like vegans. Undercover cops posing as illegal substance buyers are arrested by undercover cops posing as illegal substance dealers. Taxpayers. Yeah, that's for sure. Does it actually surprise any of us, though? I would say that the only thing that does surprise me is that it doesn't happen more often. However, it's probably that we just don't hear about it. Democrats constantly claim that their voters are far more educated than Republican voters. Democrats also claim that their voters are too stupid to get a voter ID. Well, don't worry, guys. They're going to solve it really soon. Like I said back on a past show, it's now being talked about using the digital ID as the answer. 41 DUI arrests by trooper dismissed after many drivers were deemed sober. All 41 of those people that were arrested should sue the police department. CNN working on their next news story. That's most of the media in general. Florida man arrested for riding alligator through Wendy's drive-thru, demanding chicken nuggets. Well, at least it was a real animal and not some poor manatee. Florida woman tells police wind blew substance into her handbag. A Florida woman arrested on suspicion of substance possession said the substance must have been blown into her handbag by the wind, police say. Posey, 26, was one of the two passengers in a car that was stopped by Fort Pierce police on March 21st, local TV news reports. I don't know anything about any substance, Miss Posey told officers, according to an arrest report. It's a windy day. It must have flown through the window and into my purse. People will literally say anything but the truth. A Florida woman was arrested for wrestling a manatee in a bikini at a public park. Well, I was gonna say only in Florida, but you're not gonna see manatees in too many other places, so I guess that's a technicality this time. Being a leftist is easy. You don't have to know anything. Just repeat what you see and hear on BBC TV and radio, and if anyone disagrees with you, call them a racist. That does basically sum up a lot of them these days. Looking at your paycheck after a long work week, be like, yeah, that's how it goes. We'd probably be better off if Y2K had actually ruined all the computers back in 2000. We almost certainly would have been, so long as they couldn't have built them back. The blue-crested loon has been named the new state bird of Minnesota. Should also be the state bird of California and probably a number of others. Me laughing at dumb memes while the infrastructure for AI governance is built around us. Unfortunately, it's very true. And it's gonna happen a lot faster than what most people expect. The biggest scam in life. Paying taxes on money you make, taxes on money you spend, and taxes on things you own that you already paid taxes on with already taxed money. Yeah, that's definitely toward the top of the list.
All men are pigs. Women are equal to men.
The prosecution rests, Your Honor. Most of my grandma's family starved to death in 1933. Stalin was a murderer.
No.
French biathlon athlete wins gold following theft conviction for stealing money from teammate. Well, maybe she'll be able to pay her back now. Man in Thailand sold his balls for $2.7 million to modify his car. All right, I gotta look this up. If they are talking about Thailand's currency, 2.7 million would convert to just under 87,000 USD. But regardless of the price and how crazy this guy's obsession with modifying a car that's going to devalue faster than he can drive it, but who would have bought them and why? I mean, what are they going to do with them? Actually, never mind, I don't want to know. Can't believe how lucky I got with Zoran's election. My baby boy will enter daycare in March, just in time for it to be free once Zoran seizes the means of production. This guy tries to buy a new mattress, and this woman just goes and loses it.
Oh yeah, what this dum-dum did. I told him to go to a regular store and get a mattress, but no, he wants to get it from Amazon. Like, are you serious? Look, how are we supposed to sleep on that or do anything on that? Look at this thing. What the hell is that?
I don't know.
What is it? Is that supposed to be for real? You playing with me, right?
What's that, though?
You playing, right?
I'm about to show your mom that she don't know what she's talking about.
What do you mean, babe? Look at that mattress. Look at the
Are
one
you
we
kidding?
had. The one we had was perfect.
You think you're gonna sleep on that?
I don't know. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know where I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah, this is why, bro. Hold on, watch.
What? What?
Watch out, guys. Watch out, cause mommy don't know.
Mommy, nothing. Look at this mattress. That thing looks like one of them sleep things, like them little covers. Oh. Wait, what? What?
Look at your face.
What
Record your
happened?
face. Record your face so people can see.
No.
Record your face.
Oh, I didn't know. That's the thing. I didn't know that that's what happened. But still, it still looked thin. I don't know.
Screeching halt. Drivers could be forced to install speed limiting devices under new January 2027 law, and removing it means a $2,500 fine. They're saying this is for habitual speeders or whatever, but like I said a long time ago, this is coming to all new vehicles. It's already been proposed and pushed by states before, like I've had in some past shows, but this is how they're going to roll it out. Until one day, all the new vehicles suddenly receive a firmware update. Just wait until the time when your car reports you for speeding or anything else, locks the doors, then drives you to the police station to be arrested. The barista waiting for me to give her a 125% tip for microwaving a sandwich. If the government can get scammed out of $9 billion without anyone noticing, then we the people are paying way too much in taxes. Oh, that's not even a drop in the bucket. I guarantee you. How do I know? Because we're going toward $39 trillion in debt, and by the time you guys see this video, they've probably already started another government shutdown. Looters have it easy today. It was a lot harder to run with a color TV in 1968. That is for certain. And you certainly weren't going to have one guy put it under his shoulder and go running out Walmart's front door with it. Instead of just exposing crimes all day, every day, can we get to the part where the criminals are arrested and justice is served? No, not really. Even the ones who are arrested are only done so because they're either a sacrificial puppet or it's just something to fill the news circles with, and then later on they end up getting out of it. Or even if they're sent to prison, how do we know that any of them's actually there? They'd take them out or replace them with doubles, and none of us would ever know. A drug dealer doesn't use drugs himself. Yeah, a lot of the things that they push and promote, both technology and otherwise, they do not use themselves, except maybe when they're in public. And this is even more true when it comes to their kids. This is what will ultimately destroy America. Just need to put the rest of them up there, because none of the politicians really represent the people. Mom of 3 who vanished 24 years ago while Christmas shopping found alive and well, authorities say. A North Carolina mother who went missing 24 years ago while going Christmas shopping has been found alive and well, according to authorities. And I read part of this article, and I think what it was that reopened the investigation was they received some information about her supposed whereabouts. And when they followed up on it, they found out that she was just living a new life, apparently. They said the details were kept confidential, but she didn't want anyone to know where she was. You think they'll make her pay all the back child support that they would if a man had done this? Not hardly. Minnesota State Representative Alex Faulkner faces calls for arrest for alleged anti-ICE network involvement. Accusations link him to watch groups involved in shootings. Even when animals don't do what women want, it's still men's fault somehow.
Are you mad right now?
Because look at where the dog is. He doesn't like me. He's obsessed with you. I'm over it. It's honestly sexist.
What do you mean it's sexist?
Like, I don't believe, like, dogs obviously are into the patriarchy. Like, you're the leader of the pack.
He's literally just laying on me. Like,
no, it's all the time, though. Like, you're the leader of the pack. We get it. You have a dick. It's just so annoying. You'd think in 2025, dogs wouldn't be sexist, but...
I'm her bullshit, right, Punch?
Man charged in largest jewelry heist in U.S. history avoids trial by getting deported. A suspect in the largest jewelry heist in U.S. history was deported to Ecuador, halting his prosecution in the $100 million Brinks truck theft at Grapevine truck stop. Federal prosecutors say they were unaware of the deportation and still want to prosecute, while the defendant's attorney asked that the case be dismissed. I guess he was glad to take that ticket. In 1916, a proposed amendment to the U.S. Constitution suggested that before the nation could declare war, it would require a nationwide public vote and that every citizen who voted in favor would be required to serve in the U.S. Army. I think this is a very good idea. They should also include all the politicians as well, because ultimately, it's always the politicians that get us into these wars, one way or another. Palestinian activists call dogs un-Islamic and should be banned as indoor pets in New York City. What do you guys think? Do we need to get a lot more dogs? Which holiday is more real? Kwanzaa? Juneteenth? Toyotathon? Yes, I have to agree. Breaking news, Punxsutawney Phil is out on work release as part of his punishment for calling for 6 more weeks of winter. Now he's cleaning up these giant oversized mounds of dirty ice he helped create everywhere. Officials say it's part of his rehabilitation. He made the mess, now he's digging himself out of it. You know what? I have a better idea. Why don't they put all the people that go and drag him out of his den while he's trying to hibernate, just so they can claim if he saw his shadow or not? They should put all them into work release for waking him up while he's trying to sleep. 57-year-old man accidentally throws 20 gold bars worth $140,000 into the garbage. The man, who hasn't been named, had bought and stored his gold in a tin box over the years in Italy. If anyone has enough money to buy some gold, you might want to buy a small vault, or at the very least, put it in something you're not going to throw away. It would really surprise me if Andrew gets anything. When your alarm hasn't gone off, but the amount of sleep you're getting is suspicious. Yeah, and when that realization hits, you're jumping up wide awake to see what time it is. CBP wants AI-powered quantum sensors for finding substances in cars. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is paying General Dynamics to create prototype quantum sensors to be used with an AI database to detect substances and other substances, and anything else that they want them to find, which they can reprogram them at any given point in time. Bringing American culture to Greenland. Well, they're not wrong. I mean, we've all seen it on YouTube. Imagine sitting in here eating food while it's raining outside, then someone farts and you have nowhere to run. That's pretty bad. No more landmines. That agency deploys drones to catch dog owners who don't clean up after their pets. Gaza border town will use smart cameras to spot violations in parks and streets, issuing a 475 shekel fines for dog waste and enforcing leash, registration, and vaccination rules. Yeah, because, priorities. They can ignore every citation. Call for accountability after MKE driver gets 33rd suspended license ticket. Of course, it's 33. A Milwaukee man has been caught driving with a suspended license dozens of times, yet continues to drive without facing criminal charges, highlighting what officials call a major flaw in Wisconsin's traffic enforcement system. Julian Lopez was pulled over in December for driving 106 miles per hour, but the danger speeds weren't his only violation. Court records show it marked the 33rd citation for operating on a suspended license, an offense that carries no criminal penalties under current state law, no matter how many times a driver is caught. Honestly, the driver's license doesn't even really bother me. The thing is they've pulled this guy over 33 times, that's known at least, which also means they had to have probable cause to pull him over to begin with. So why hasn't he been arrested and thrown in jail for driving over 100 miles an hour just in this one specific case alone? What do you think the penalty would be if any of us done that? Just one time, let alone being stopped more than 30 times. Oregon must dismiss more than 1,400 criminal cases due to attorney shortage, court rules. It's nice, though, that they had the time to dismiss all these cases. I'd like to see the summary of what crimes each of these cases were supposed to be about. What percent of these cases do you guys think were about violent crimes? Drop it in the comments. How an ambassador for health is chosen in modern-day Britain. Point of view. Trying to change my own tire to prove to my man he's there because I want him, not need him. Okay, since this tire is still flat at this point, I can only assume she's attempting to remove it. But now she's tightening the lug nuts for some reason, and then the jack falls over. Congratulations, you didn't need him for that. South Korea printed a living human eye that connects directly to the brain. Bioengineers at KIST in South Korea have achieved a historic medical milestone by successfully 3D printing a fully functional human eye and integrating it with a patient's nervous system. The complex organ, which includes a retina, lens, cornea, and optic nerve, was implanted into a 31-year-old individual who has been blind for 7 years following an industrial accident. This marks the first time a multi-tissue synthetic organ has been successfully connected to the human brain, allowing the patient to regain sight. I know the technology is advancing, but this can't be true. We would have heard about other things before this because the eye is extremely complex. On the other hand, what technology have they not shown yet? Scotch tape, black tape, duct tape, red tape. McDonald's serving new menu item for liberal customers. The unhappy meal? Better be careful though, Nancy will want her eyebrows back. When she's taking too long to get ready, and you guys have somewhere to be. Well, I suppose that's one way. I hope he's driving really slow with the wind hitting that much surface area. Hey, Bill, could you pose for a picture? Of course, Frank. What are you gonna use it for? Yo. Paying $1,600 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, no space, no garden, rarely at home because you're always working. A literal peasant in 1890. A Peasant's House, Black Forest, Germany, 1890. Yeah, and they didn't pay 60 to 70% of everything they have in taxes every year either. People don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Dearborn Police launch first of its kind real-time crime fighting system. Basically, they're using drones to monitor the city in real time. Guess they'll finally catch those jaywalkers and any women who aren't wearing a face mask hoodie. Cops shocked to recognize woman complaining about police to city council. Lady, you're wanted by the police. The woman was being sought after she allegedly stabbed her boyfriend. Okay, so this woman goes and commits, well, I was going to say a felony, but since she only stabbed a man, it's probably only going to be a misdemeanor. But since she does that and knows that she is wanted, but yet she turns around and goes and complains to the city council about the police. That's a real bright one there. Microwaves, beep. Ovens, beep. Washers and dryers. Why is this true? My mom's washer is just like this. A woman duct taped to an American airline seat after attacking the flight crew and trying to open the door mid-flight. I think this is the second or third story I've seen in just the last month or two of people trying to open the airplane door while it's in the air. What the heck's wrong with these people? Amazon's Ring cancels Flock partnership amid Super Bowl ad backlash. I'm sure most of you guys have already heard about this, and I'd say most everybody has heard about these Flock cameras that the police and even local governments and everybody else is using. Apparently, Amazon Ring camera was going to be integrated into the Flock camera system or something to that effect, and supposedly now that's all canceled and they've separated ways after they put it on a huge Super Bowl commercial. They knew exactly what people's reaction to that would be, so why put it on a Super Bowl ad? Are they just flaunting it in people's faces or what? I don't know exactly. Brooke at 34. Short guys swipe left. A man under 6 feet is not a real man. Sorry, not sorry. Smoker, swipe left. Friendly, pass. Make under $100,000? Not interested. Well, congratulations, lady, because out of all the men in the United States, only 0.04% of them meet that criteria. So good luck on finding them. Alternate universe where instead of a Terminator, Skynet sends an illegal with a California CDL. I thought this one here was a pretty good advertisement for a septic tank company. And it's also a very factual statement. Couple fined more than $4,000 because the thief who stole their car didn't wear a seatbelt. We may have a new dictionary definition for the term adding insult to injury. According to a report by 9Now Australia Today, a couple were victims of a home invasion and had their Lexus SUV stolen in the process, followed by the man and woman receiving a $6,258 Australian dollar fine, which is roughly $4,400 USD, because the alleged thief wasn't wearing a seatbelt during the getaway. Well, they was just worried about his safety. They didn't want him to get unalive during a high-speed chase or something. Of course, that would take the police actually going after the criminals instead of the victims. Never before documented behavior. Mice attempt to rescue their companions with actions similar to CPR. These are probably the kind of mice that's in my barn. Roboticists recreate Thing from the Addams Family. It is a little bit interesting, but number one, the Thing only had 5 fingers, not 6. And number two, it could move a whole lot faster than this thing can. This thing looks more like it's dancing rather than walking. That actually does sum it up. Just keeps getting worse. University medtech hubs are uploading skills directly into human brains in 20 minutes. A biological hijacking is happening in accelerated learning centers. Researchers successfully implanted procedural memories like piano playing, language vocabulary, and martial arts movements using transcranial magnetic stimulation combined with virtual reality. Test subjects with zero piano experience played intermediate pieces after just one 20-minute session. Skill retention lasted 6 months without practice, with 91% accuracy maintained. If they can upload things to your brain, just think of what all they can download, or even worse, what they can replace. And we also know that anything that they can do through wired technology originally, they always end up making it wireless later. Tax the rich. Tax everyone. Well, it's never the billionaires that pays any taxes. It's always been the middle class and even the poor. These days, there's not a whole lot of a middle class left in the US. You want term limits. I want prison sentences. We are not the same. She's just looking at him like, I knew it. The servers got to keep the tips. Due to unforeseen circumcisions, the dining room will be closed this evening. I guess it was unexpected. I know most of you watch the channel on your TV. Here's a PSA. Your smart TV is taking 7,200 secret screenshots every hour, and here is how to stop it. I'm not going to read this part of the article, and you guys can look this up online, but down here in the second paragraph says the invisible tracking system called automatic content recognition works like a relentless Shazam for everything on your screen. It fingerprints content from any source, streaming apps, cable boxes, game consoles, even that embarrassing late-night infomercial habit. Like I said a long time ago, people that think that they still have any kind of privacy are kidding themselves. The people who run this world don't care which ruler you choose. They care only that you keep choosing to be ruled. If you like this video, click on one of the videos that YouTube will show here for more, or check out the links in the video description. I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this week, because the Idiocracy is only getting worse by the day. This is Akorn, over and out.